The engine turns over like it always does. Low, steady, familiar. Not loud, not angry. Just there, like me, just here. I sit behind the wheel, not in a rush. Sometimes, it feels like the only time I can breathe is before the movement begins. When the world is paused, when the day hasn't demanded anything from me yet. I stare out through the windshield. Fog hugs the early morning edges of the road. It's cold, but not freezing. The kind of cold that seeps into your sleeves and thoughts, but not your bones. It's German winter, gray, silent, and too long, just like the weeks have been lately. This car, this road, they become my therapy. Not because I love driving, but because it's the only space where nothing is expected of me. No deadlines, no BPHNC, no meetings, just distance, just movement, just breathing. Working in Germany was never part of the original plan, but life doesn't care much for plans. It gives you job offers, visa deadlines, people who say we need you, but never ask how you are. So I said yes. And for a while it worked. The job had a title. The apartment was small but clean. The salary covered the bills. The co-workers were polite. Not warm, not cruel, just correct. And I told myself that was enough. But days became weeks, and weeks became a blur of waking up too early, taking trams with strangers who never look up, sitting in a borough with 2 white lights and too little laughter, lunch alone, emails that start formal and end colder, tiny smiles, no touch, no voice that asks, "How's your heart?" That question stopped existing here. It's not just about Germany. It's not even about work. It's the combination of being foreign, of being functional, of being needed for what you can do, not who you are. I press the gas pedal and roll onto the road. The highway isn't busy yet, just a few cars ahead, their red lights glowing like distant thoughts I'm trying not to chase. My job title is long. My contract is permanent. My inbox is full. But my soul, most days, it feels like a hallway where the lights keep flickering. Never fully dark, but never warm either. I remember when I used to laugh more. Back home, wherever home is now, there was noise, mess, people who touched your shoulder when they spoke to you. People who said, "I'm here," and meant it. Here, it's different. Here, silence is normal. Distance is safe. You work. You prove. You don't expect. But what if I want more than that? What if I want to feel again? I switch lanes. The highway opens wide, like a quiet invitation. It doesn't promise anything, but it lets me move. And that somehow is enough for now. The silence between the signs. There's a kind of silence on the German highway that doesn't exist in cities. It's not empty. It's not hollow. It's full, but with what? I'm not sure. Maybe it's the thoughts everyone is afraid to say aloud. Maybe it's the quiet screams of people who are still driving, to jobs, to expectations, to things they never asked for. I'm one of them. Sometimes I look over at other cars and wonder who they're becoming when no one's looking. That woman in the black BMW, maybe she just left a job she hated. That man in the truck, maybe he misses someone he can't talk about. We're all moving, but I don't think any of us knows why anymore. And maybe that's the point. I started working here 5 years ago. At first I was proud. The offer came with words like Verantwortung and Entwicklung and Stabilitat, words that sounded like building blocks, like security. I was told, "You'll grow here," and I believed it. God, I needed to believe it, because when you're far from home, you want to believe the discomfort is worth it. You want to believe the cold is just temporary, the loneliness is just adjustment. You tell yourself it's not that people are distant, they're just reserved. You tell yourself you're lucky, that the ache in your chest at 6 p.m. is just homesickness, that the silence at dinner is just exhaustion. But then one day you wake up and realize you haven't laughed in a long time. Not the kind of laugh that makes your chest open and your eyes crinkle. Not the kind of laugh you don't have to translate. The GPS voice cuts in, telling me to exit in 1.3 kilometers. I don't. I turn it off instead. I don't want to be told where to go right now. I just want to drive until the road ends, or I do. There was a co-worker once, Maria. She smiled with her eyes. She spoke softly, and she was the only one who ever noticed when I was quiet. One day, she brought me coffee and said, "You look like someone who forgot how to rest." I didn't know how to answer, because I had forgotten. I was still pretending that productivity would make me feel real, that if I was needed enough, I'd matter. Maria quit last year. She didn't say goodbye. Just one final email. Ichgaha, while it's Michigan Selbstnick Mer can. I'm leaving because I no longer recognize myself. I think about that sentence often, because that's what this job has done to me, too. I've become a version of myself that only works, apologizes, and translates. A version that's good at pretending, good at staying just enough, just quiet enough, just agreeable enough, just German enough. But out here, on the highway, I don't have to be that. Out here, I'm just a person in a car, breathing, grieving, still driving, between exit signs and expectations. There's a certain point on every drive where you forget why you left in the first place. You pass the same gas stations, the same signs, the same speed traps. The world starts repeating itself, like the workdays back at the office. Monday melts into Tuesday. Deadlines blur. People say Guten Morgen with the exact same tone they said it yesterday, and you say Danke even when you feel hollow inside. It's strange. The things I used to love about Germany, the structure, the order, the quiet, are the very things that now feel like they're pressing on my chest. There's a word I think about a lot. Funktionieren. To function. Not to live. Not to thrive. Just to function. And I've become very good at it. I show up on time. I answer emails with perfect grammar. I smile politely at the vending machine. I meet my KPIs. I nod in meetings, even when I disagree. I fit in, but I don't feel in. I'm like a passenger in my own body, watching myself do all the right things, while something inside whispers, "You're disappearing." The lane ahead stretches, perfectly smooth. I switch to cruise control, and for a moment, the car drives itself like I have been. Mechanically, quietly, without joy. No one talks about how hard it is to lose yourself without anyone noticing. No one prepares you for the grief of becoming someone you never planned to be. Especially in a country where people don't talk about feelings unless they've had 3 drinks or it's been officially scheduled in their calendar. I miss noise. I miss chaos. I miss people who interrupt each other not out of rudeness, but excitement. Here, everything is contained. Even sadness wears a tie. I once cried in the office bathroom. Not loudly, just quietly. Tears that came without warning while washing my hands. It wasn't even a bad day. It was just another one. Another day where I showed up but wasn't really there. No one noticed. Or if they did, no one said anything. Because here, feelings are private, even when they leak out through the cracks. I take the next exit, not because I know where it goes, but because I want to feel something different, even if it's just a different shade of gray. I drive into a small town, sleepy, still, a bakery, closed, a post office with dust on a window, a man walking his dog in silence. For a moment, I want to get out, buy a coffee, breathe air that doesn't smell like meetings and printer ink. But I don't, because leaving the highway feels like letting go of the one thing that still moves. Instead, I circle back and re-enter the A7, back to the endless hum, back to the wide, Empty lanes. Back to the only place where I don't have to perform. Rear view mirrors and ghosts. They don't tell you this when you pack your life into 2 suitcases and move to another country. You'll carry people with you, even the ones you thought you left behind. They won't take up space in your new apartment. They won't be in your contacts list, but they'll be there in your rear view mirror, in songs you forgot you loved, in quiet mornings when the light hits the floor just right, and you remember how someone once made you feel like home. I drive faster now, not recklessly, just enough to outrun the silence building in my throat. But it follows. I think of her. We met back when the idea of moving to Germany still felt like adventure, not survival. She believed in me more than I believed in myself. She said I'd make something here. And for a while I did, or at least I thought I did. But careers have a way of growing teeth. They start by offering you structure, then ask for your evenings. They say, just one more project, and soon you're a stranger to your own reflection. I lost her in the in-between, between deadlines, between missed calls, between becoming someone I thought the world needed more than she did. I told myself I was doing this for us, but in the end, there was only me, and this job, and this road. There are still mornings when I check her Instagram, even though she doesn't post anymore. Still nights when I wake up wondering what she would say if she saw who I've become. Not the LinkedIn version, the real one, the one sitting behind this wheel, wondering when success started to feel like a cage. Another car passes me, a young couple, her head on his shoulder, laughing about something I'll never hear. And it hits me, I've been driving alone for a long time. Not just today, not just this month, but for years now. Even when someone sits beside me, the space feels full of someone else. Or maybe of who I was before all this started. Before I was the one who canceled dinners because I was too exhausted to talk. Before I started saying it's been okay with a smile so practiced it stopped being a lie and became a performance. The rear view mirror catches the soft orange glow of the setting sun. I glance into it, not to check the traffic behind me, but to look for the pieces of myself I left somewhere back there. The hopeful version, the trusting one, the one who once moved to a foreign country, believing life would begin here, not unravel. I miss him, but I don't know if he would recognize me anymore. I think grief isn't just about losing people. It's about losing versions of yourself you never said goodbye to. It's about mourning the life you thought you were building, only to find yourself trapped inside it. But even that realization brings something I haven't felt in a long time. Clarity, because now that I see it, maybe I can change it. Maybe I don't have to keep driving in circles around the same pain. Maybe I can choose a different route. Not today, not yet, but someday. For now, I keep driving, not to escape, but to remember, to listen, to feel again, because that's the first step, isn't it? Before you change lanes, you check your mirrors, the road that remembers you. There's something different in the way the wind sounds now. I roll the window down just enough to feel the air press against my skin, not too cold, not too warm. Somewhere in between, like me, somewhere between the person I was when I first got behind the wheel today and the one I'm becoming now. I don't know where I'm going, but it doesn't feel scary anymore. It feels like a chance. The road curves gently to the right. The trees open up, revealing an old village I've never seen before. Stone houses, wooden balconies, geraniums in the windows, even though it's far too early in the year for them to be real. Still, someone placed them there to make things beautiful, to remind themselves that even gray can carry red. I think about all the little things I've forgotten to notice lately, like the sound of my own laugh, the way the sun looks on the back of my hand, when I reach for the steering wheel, the silence that doesn't hurt, just hums, soft and bearable. Working in Germany had become the shape of my days, the outline of my identity. My job became my measure, the weekly meetings, the quarterly goals, the careful communication. I thought if I just kept checking all the boxes, I'd feel full again. But it didn't work. You can't fill a soul with schedules. The highway in my mind had been going in circles, looping back over old failures, repeating the same exit signs of exhaustion. Just push through. At least it's stable. You should be grateful. But today, something inside me veered off. It didn't scream. It didn't demand. It simply said, enough. And I listened. I think we all get to a point where something inside us breaks open, not to fall apart, but to let light in, a small crack in the armor, a whisper beneath the noise. There's more to life than surviving it. I pull over at a rest stop. There's no real reason. But I get out, stretch again, and walk into the woods behind the lot. The earth is soft beneath my shoes. The air smells like pine and memory. I sit on a bench that's been there long before me. I imagine how many other people sat here, tired of their own roads, unsure what comes next. And suddenly, I don't feel so alone, because maybe we all reach this point where continuing on the same path feels more painful than turning around, where staying quiet becomes louder than speaking up, where driving straight becomes less important than asking, why am I still on this road? And maybe healing isn't about stopping. Maybe it's about choosing deliberately where to go next. I stand up, take one last look at the trees, and whisper something to the version of me that brought me here. Thank you for surviving. Now let's learn how to live. Let me know when you're ready for part 7. The next stretch will carry us through the idea of rebuilding life not from scratch, but from the quiet ruins of what we once believed would save us. The space between who I was and who I might be. The road is quieter now, not because fewer cars are around, but because something inside me has softened. There's a tension in transition that no one talks about. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. It's awkward. You wake up and realize the old life doesn't fit anymore. The one that ran on overwork, on earning approval, on showing up and shutting up. But you haven't yet figured out how to build the new one. You're between lanes, between stories, between versions of yourself. And it's uncomfortable. Part of me still feels guilty for feeling this way. I have a job, a roof, health insurance. Say Doc Dankbar, be grateful. And I am grateful. But also I'm grieving, because I spent years learning how to survive in this structure, how to play by the rules, how to carry my worth in performance reviews and clean tax records and perfectly formatted cover letters. And now I see it. None of that makes me feel alive. I miss meaning. I miss the kind of connection that doesn't depend on fluency. The kind of work that doesn't drain you by Friday. The kind of life that feels like yours, not something you rented to please someone else. I miss softness and mess and someone saying, you don't have to prove anything today. I know this too. That version of me, the one who kept quiet, kept perfect, kept pushing, is what got me here. He did his best, and maybe I don't have to hate him for that. Maybe I can thank him for carrying so much, for saying yes when he was scared, for not breaking. Even when the nights got long and the faces at work got colder and the loneliness settled into his chest like winter. And now it's time to take the wheel from him, not to erase him, but to let him rest, because I want more now, not in a greedy way, in a true way, more depth, more honesty, more mornings that don't feel like a fight, more moments where I belong to myself first, before I belong to a company or a contract. The road curves again and I let it. I don't fight it. I don't try to straighten it out. I just let the bend happen. And I think maybe that's what the season of life is. The bend is not about answers yet. It's about surrendering to the curve, knowing that just because you can't see the next exit doesn't mean there isn't one. You just have to keep going, slowly, gently, honestly, and let the road change you, letting it be what it is. The sun is lower now, brushing the edges of the sky with amber and gold. It's not dramatic, just a quiet shift in color, but it changes everything. I think this is what healing looks like. Not fireworks, not epiphanies, just a soft unfolding of light in places that were once dark. There's still sadness in me, still the ache of all I lost along the way. The time, the people, the parts of myself I buried under performance and politeness. But it doesn't feel sharp anymore. It feels known, like an old song that still makes your chest tight. But you don't skip it anymore. You listen, you remember, and then you let it end. For so long I thought healing meant getting back to who I was before I burned out, before I broke, before I learned how lonely success can feel when it's not rooted in love. But now I see it. I'm not going back. And that's okay. I don't want the old rhythm, the urgency, the over-promising, the nodding in meetings when my soul was screaming no, the subtle self-betrayal that became routine. I want this new rhythm. Slower, truer, built on the question, does this bring me closer to myself? I'm not sure what that life looks like yet, but I'm not afraid of not knowing. There's peace in the pause, and for the first time in a long while, I'm not mistaking stillness for failure. Out the window, I see a man walking his dog along a field. The wind plays with his coat. He doesn't look rushed. There's a rhythm in his steps that reminds me, you don't have to hurry to arrive. You can walk. You can wonder. You can be. This is what working in Germany never taught me, that the worth of a person isn't in what they produce, but in how honestly they live. And I want to live honestly, even if that means being misunderstood, even if that means starting over, even if that means choosing rest over recognition, because I performed long enough. Now I want to belong to myself first. I pass a sign that says, let's ausfahren vor der Grenze. Last exit before the border. It hits me not as geography, but as metaphor. There's a border in all of us, a place between the life we built and the one we're finally ready to live. And today, I think I'm ready to cross it, not to leave everything behind, but to carry forward only what's real, choosing what comes with me. The road is nearly empty now. No music, no notifications, just the gentle sound of the tires on asphalt and the quiet rhythm of my own breath. Finally audible. It's strange how many things I carried without realizing it. Old expectations, voices from childhood, cultural pressure, unspoken rules about success and structure, and what it means to be a real adult. But I'm not carrying them now. Or maybe I am, but I'm finally aware of the weight. And that awareness is the beginning of choice. So I start asking myself questions, not the heavy ones that spiral, but the kind that offer new ground. What do I want to bring with me into the next version of my life? What am I ready to set down? I think I'll leave behind the guilt for being tired, for not wanting to climb the corporate ladder any higher, for needing rest, for needing beauty, for needing softness in a world that rewards the sharp. I'll leave behind the belief that value is measured in urgency, in hours worked, in goals achieved, in emails sent at 21:07 with the subject line, Kerr's knock was... And I'll keep the tenderness, the parts of me that feel deeply, even when it hurts, the instinct that pauses when someone else is quiet, not to fill the silence, but to respect it, the little moments that remind me I'm still human, warm bread, open windows, unguarded laughter. I want more of those, not on weekends, not after burnout. Now, there's a word I once read that never left me. Zuhaus. It means home, but not a building, not a legal address. Something quieter, deeper, a place where your breath drops into your chest again, where your laughter doesn't ask for permission, where you don't have to translate who you are, you just are. I want that kind of home, not only around me, but within me. The highway stretches endlessly, but I no longer feel lost on it. I feel free because this road doesn't require answers, just presence, just movement, just a quiet trust that something is forming, even in the not knowing. I drive on, not to get away, but to move toward a life that fits, a life that's mine. I am still driving. The sky has shifted again, dusk melting into night, that gentle blue-gray hour where everything softens, including me. There's no destination left tonight, no office to return to, no inbox waiting with urgency disguised as routine, just the hum of the road beneath me, and the silence beside me that no longer feels like loneliness, only space. I'm not who I was when I started this drive, not the over-functioning worker, chasing worth through performance, not the version of myself who kept saying yes when everything inside whispered no, not the person who believed burnout was just part of being an adult. Now, I'm someone who stopped, who sat in a gas station parking lot and cried over a cup of cold coffee, who walked through trees and let old ghosts go, who remembered what it meant to feel something and let it stay, who gave themselves permission, finally, to begin again. The job is still there. The life in Germany still continues. But I am not the same. I don't pretend anymore. Not at work. Not in mirrors. Not in the quiet hours before sleep, when the mind tells the truth. I've learned that healing doesn't mean escaping. It means reclaiming, not leaving the road, but choosing how to drive it. How fast. How present, how honest. I still have fears, still have questions, but I meet them differently now, with breath, with gentleness, with the knowledge that my life is allowed to change, even if no one claps for it, even if no one understands it. There are still mornings when the sky is too gray, still moments when the language slips, and I feel like a stranger in every sentence, still meetings where I shrink out of habit, but now I notice it, and that noticing is a kind of freedom, a kind of light, and sometimes, on drives like this, I feel something like peace. Not joy, not yet, but peace, the kind that says, you don't need to be anyone else today, just breathe, just drive, just be. There's no GPS now, no plan, no 5-year vision deck, but I have my hands on the wheel, my heart, though scarred, open, and the road still stretching, still whispering. Go on. You're not lost. You're just living